Okay, so first let's go over Photoshop 1. Um, so this is what was it, the third assignment, the one with the bike. So let's look at the bike first. This one is Andrea. Okay, so the bike again was the most difficult thing to select, but looks like you did a good job with that one.
Oh, we cannot see your screen.
Oh, thanks for letting me know. I thought I was streaming already. Go back. Okay, you can see it now, right?
Yeah.
Also, let me know if my mic is making any extra noise from the recording yesterday. I had this fan blowing on it the whole time and it was making noise. So let me know if it's doing that. Okay, Andrea, let's check out your I don't know, let's look at this next. And these are meerkats, right? Yeah, pretty nice. See, it looks clean. And we got a butterfly and a sunflower. Cool. So that's all four. Remember, I said four, but like if you spent extra time on one of them, I guess you could count as two. This is Edelvan. We've got the before images. Okay, let's just look at the before images. It's the bike, a soccer ball, some Porsches, and some vegetables. Let's see what they look like after. So here's the bike. Looks good. Soccer ball. I like the effect on that soccer ball. And that looks pretty cool. That Porsche really pops out when it's the only thing with color. Almost looks like it's photoshopped in there, like it wasn't there before. And the veggies. Cool. And this is Angelica. And we actually have Photoshop files here, so I gotta open these up. Just double click all of them. Okie dokie. So this one, something's loading. Got a bird. You can see all the work that went into this. We got a, what is that, color? What does that do? Oh, you added a little bit of color afterwards, huh? And we've got the hue saturation, another one. Oh, so you changed the color and you changed the background. Nice job. And then this one, cup full of, what are those, cherries? Oh yeah, they're cherries. You just changed the color. That's why I'm confused. Thought it was grapes. Cool. So the original image was clear or red, and you made it clear. That's pretty cool. What kind of? Oh, you used a selective color, and you just basically boosted the cyan and brought down the magenta and the yellow. Good to know. Nice job. Let's close that one. Got some roses. That's the original. That's the color changed version. Cool. So it kind of looks like dried roses now. And the bike. When you actually did multicolor. That must have been a lot of work doing the spokes, but looks good with the blue and the pink. Alright, awesome. And Emilio. Okay, Back to the Future. That looks great. Did you add this too? This was not in the original picture, was it? I forgot. But yeah, I think you added that. Yep, I'm recording. And you also went with the double colors. Nice job. Okay, so this wasn't exactly part of the assignment, but I'll count it as a submission since you did it. Um, that's funny. You added a panda hat. Cool. And then this thing. And this was like the I think it was lesson one. It was the car from that picture. Just added a lens flare and made it look like it's shining. Cool. Although those weren't exactly part of the assignment, I'll still accept. Might make you add one more though. Um, and then this is Jiyun. Bike looks great. Balloons and the hat. I mean, not a hat, umbrella. I don't know why I was looking at this guy's hat. It said hat. And cookies. Looks great. And this is Tracy. You got the bike. Looks good. And okay, this is interesting. Um, it looks really good. Curious what the before image looks like. And the ladybug turned green. Awesome. And this Photoshop 2. This is Hero, he's morning student, and this is his postcard. So welcome to Los Angeles. We got LA with the some stroke effects or layer styles and clipping mask effect. Some pictures of some areas here. I know this area of Venice. Well, of course I do. Everyone knows. If you live here, you know. Um, Pretty cool. This is Masaki. Also Los Angeles. Got some landmarks here. We for some filters applied. Skate park and what is that? Is that the pier? I don't know what that is. I think it's the pier. And then of course Hollywood. And Masato. Oh wait, that's assignment one. We got Las Vegas. What happens in here? Dot dot dot. And we got some money inside. Looks good. This is Nanako, also morning student. Um, okay, I think she went with the composite. Remember, I gave you the option to do a second composite, so she went with this. Multiple composites looks like. Got a dolphin in a pool. That's pretty cool. Funny. And the moon and a car driving by. Awesome. So yeah, I'd like to see the ideas you guys come up with. And this is Saida. Oh, we saw this one. This was assignment one for you guys, huh? Um, yeah, this one was cool. We saw this already, but it doesn't hurt to look at it again. I wonder what you were gonna do with Vin Diesel. Nice job. So did I miss anyone? Emilio, you added something? Let me see. This is what I'm seeing in the assignment 3. I skipped the start files because I'm assuming that's just the before image. But these are what I have. For the postcard, I've got one submitted by Tracy, but I'm gonna wait till more people submit so we look at those together. Okay, let's. I guess we could start the lesson. So where were we with Photoshop 1 yesterday? I think I was covering ah this one, right? So let me open up the lesson folder so we can check what's next. Well, I don't know if I want to go over a new subject and make you guys do a different assignment. I want to save because we only have one lab day tomorrow. We don't have um class on Thursdays. So, well, actually, no. Today's Tuesday. We have Wednesday. Will be yeah, Wednesday will be our lab day, so no class Thursday. So maybe I'll cover more. Maybe do another example of a postcard. Okay, so this is what we ended with. Well, this is the end file, but we ended up with pretty much the same thing. Let me go to the lesson folder. Okay, next lesson is gonna be lesson 5. This is kind of a long one. This is a good one. So lesson 5, we've got multiple parts. We've got A, B, C, D, E. So a bunch of parts to this one. It's gonna be a pretty large file, and then there's some extras too, HDR. So let's go ahead and download download the entire folder because this is one we'll spend a lot of time on. We probably won't go through the whole thing today because I also want to do some more examples of postcards or something similar. Yeah, it's gonna take a while to download. So while that's downloading, you should download yours as well so we have it ready. And let's do an example postcard for let's think of a city. Um, Fun Places to visit. Let's see what. Mm, not US though. Let's look at around the world. I haven't been around much, so I've only been to what LA and Vegas and Hawaii when I was a kid. So let's do Las Vegas because Las Vegas like a gambling city with lots of lights and shows and stuff. So we have like a lot of material for that. Someone's mic is on. Um, who is that? It's kind of loud. I can't tell who it's coming from. But yeah, if you're not muted, check the mute button. Make sure it's. I think it's Tracy.
Oh, sorry.
It's
Oops.
it's okay. Um, I'm gonna go with Las Vegas on this one. Okay, so we gotta collect some images to use and get some ideas of what we want to put together. Um, how about let's check out some websites like Behance because on Behance it's a lot of designers and just a lot of creative, talented people. So they always come up with cool styles and ideas. And if I just type postcard, I'm sure we'll get some cool ideas from here because Google postcards keeps giving me the same boring looking stuff. But yeah, well, this is illustrated, but just to give you an idea, like what is this? Is this even a postcard? Could be, but original artwork in there. I want something with some photos though, because we're not really gonna be spending time to draw our own artwork. And this time after time keeps coming up, the same style. So maybe we'll do this style too. Let's try Las Vegas, see what kind of artwork we get for this. Okay, I'm gonna keep this one open and let's open a new tab. Or actually, let's go back. Um, Open that in a new tab. And there was one more. This one I think would be cool. Kind of small though. Let's open it up. There we go. This is like some kind of gambling app, but I like this first picture. Just the colors and stuff. And the whole reflective bottom part here. Even though there's no lake or anything in front of Vegas, so it wouldn't really be reflecting, but doesn't matter. We could still try to add that in there. Is what is this vintage images of Vegas? Actually, no, this is not old. It's just black and white. Those are brand new cars over there. Cool. So next, I'm gonna collect some images from. Let's go to Pixabay Vegas. And yeah, Vegas has other things besides the city, but like I don't know if I'm gonna include rocks. It's not gonna be very interesting looking, so I'm gonna stick with photos of the neon stuff. So I'm just gonna for this one, I want to collect a bunch of images. I want to be organized. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a new folder on my desktop and call it Vegas, and then we'll save everything in here, and we'll look at how to import the images different ways. So this image, 1920 by 1080, not a robot. Maybe I'll take this one. I don't know if I'm gonna use all of these, but I'm just gonna download them just in case. Not a robot. Definitely need the welcome to Las Vegas, but is there a picture of it nighttime like this one? I'm just gonna download like one more after this and then see what I could put together with these. Oh, this thing is annoying every single time. Okay, I think we're good. Now let's drag these into Photoshop. So for the file size, there was a question about how to convert from inches to pixels, right? Let's go over the file size, what you need to know. So 1920 by 1080 pixels, that's standard HD size. It's a good size to work with if you want to create like an image that's like a full-size desktop image. Might not be might be too small for someone that has a 4K screen, so you might want to double that for 4K. But that's usually good for just standard HD, right? When you're talking about pixels, 1920 by 1080 pixels, the resolution doesn't really mean anything at that point because resolution is just there for if you're instead of using pixels, if you're using some other unit, like well, it's easiest to convert from inches because the resolution is in pixels per inch, not in centimeters or millimeters. So the other ones you'd have to do some math to convert it. But if you're looking at inches, and you're looking at 72 pixels per inch, and you could do the math there. If it's an image that's 5 inches by 5 inches, then if it's 72 resolution, that's like saying 5 times 72 times 72 times 5. That's 129,600 pixels total, which is not a lot. Also, well, let's look at it like this: 5 times 72. That's 360 by 360. It's a really small size. So if you convert this to pixels, you see here it's 360 by 360. So you just have to change this and it'll convert it for you. But if we're trying to do something that's 1920 by 1080 and we convert that to inches, you'll see that it's actually 26.67 by 15 inches at 72 resolution. If it was 300, then you'd convert that to pixels. Now it's all of a sudden it's 8,000 by 4,500 instead of 1920 by 1080. So very large, even for 4K monitor, that's too big. So you wouldn't want to use 300 for the resolution um, if you're looking at it in inches, unless you're printing it and you need it for like that size, like 26 by 15 inches. That's a pretty large size, like a big poster size. Um, Maybe for a poster you might want to do 300 resolution, but that's even for a poster it might be too much. You'd want to maybe bump that down to 200 pixels per inch, and I think it would still be okay quality when printed because it's still a decent 5,000 by 3,000 pixels. But yeah, if you ever want to convert, just switch it from here. You could also, if you already opened something, let's change this to 1920 by 1080 again, and this doesn't matter here. Just put 72. 72 is just the standard, what you see on the monitor. So let's create that. Um, if you already have the image created, you could always check the size if you go to image size. And then here you could see if you change this from percent to pixels. Whoa, why is that so big? There we go. Oh, because I had resample turned on or something. Anyways, it's 1920 by 1080 pixels. Right, image size. I don't know why it says 13,8240 pixels by 7. Like, what is that about? I'm gonna ignore that. But oh, because it's in inches. Jesus. Okay. Why isn't that in pixels? Make sure that's 1920 by 1080. I think when I opened it, I actually chose inches. So it was like a humongous size. Would have definitely crashed the computer if I tried to draw anything on that. Okay, so now it's 1920 by 1080 pixels. This resample basically will, well, let's see, if I'm trying to convert from 1920 by 1080 to like, I don't know, 5,000 or 500, let's say 900 by 506 or something. Uh, if I check, if I uncheck resample, it doesn't let you switch to pixels because resampling is just for trying to figure out the new size with the new resolution that you enter. Um, But if you're choosing the pixels yourself, it doesn't make sense to resample it. So I guess that's why it disables it or something. But anyways, don't worry about the resample. Just if you ever need to change the size of the image itself, just go to image, image size, and just look at it in pixels because that's going to be the least confusing. If you're looking at it in inches, just remember the resolution should be at 300 only if you're trying to print it. There's really no reason to look at it in real life um, units unless you're printing it. So you should always be looking at it in pixels because everything we do here is most likely going to be for the web. So um, and if you need to change the canvas size, that's without messing up the image. Maybe you already have some pictures in here. Say we drop this in here. If you change the image size, this will grow, the canvas will grow, but if you change the canvas size, only the canvas will change. So if I change this to 1000 for the width, proceed, you see the picture stays the same, the canvas just gets smaller. But if you do image size 1000 for that, then the whole thing gets smaller. Um, You could also change the units for the rulers just by right clicking on it. Right now it's in pixels, but I could right click and change it to inches. That way I know that, okay, this is 1 inch, this is 2 inch. The whole thing is 26 point something inches. But I'm going to keep that on pixels. Okay. But we're doing a postcard, so for a postcard, that's again standard postcard sizes. They're going to be something like 5 by 6 inches. Standard postcard. 4 by 6, 5 by 7. The most standard postcard size is 4 by 6, which meets USPS postcard regulations and is affordable to print. So we'll go with 4 by 6 then. So new file, and so this time I'm keeping it in mind that it's a postcard and it's going to be printed. So make sure this is in inches, and we want 4 by 6 or 6 by 4, depending on how you want to create the layout. So again, postcard is like a tiny card. So we can afford to bump the resolution up to 300. So how many pixels is that going to be? That's 1800 by 1200 pixels. So yeah, 6 by 4 at 300 resolution. That's about 1800 by 1200. So slightly more than HD image size. And that's what it looks like. If you want to rotate the canvas, you can go to image rotation, 90 degrees clockwise. If you want your postcard to be this way instead of landscape mode. And then I'm just going to grab all of these images and let's just drop them all right here. Actually, let's bring it in a different way. So you could drag it this way. And what happens is, I think this way it gets embedded. It's not linked. Meaning if I save this file and submit it or send it to someone, the pictures are all there. But if you want to save the file size and not make your Photoshop file so large, you could always do a file place linked and then grab the photos that way. Let's Go to the desktop. Ah, I have to do it one by one, huh? When you bring it in linked, you'll get like a little icon on the layer that tells you that this is linked. It says smart object thumbnail. It's also going to be a smart object, so um, that means you could double click on it and see the original image. Okay, if I bring it in embedded, file, place embedded, see it just comes in as a regular layer, not a smart object. Um, Also, whenever I bring it in, notice how it shrinks to fit the screen. I don't think it'll grow if it's smaller than the screen. I don't think it's gonna grow to fit it. It'll just drop in smaller size. But if you want to see the full, like how big that image is compared to this 1800 by 1200 canvas, the actual image size, drag it to a new tab, and then it'll open in a new tab. And then if I drag it from here to here, then you could see that it's actually this big. Okay, and instead of dragging directly to here where it shrinks down to it, just bring it from here and it'll be full size. That way you get a better idea of how large this image is. And then once you do that, if you're going to be resizing this image a lot, might want to turn it into a smart object by right clicking on it, converting it to a smart object. Um, so I'm going to just drop all of these here and make them all smart objects, and then close the original. So bring this in, convert to smart object. It's almost the same image. Close that. Um, Bring this one in, convert to smart object, and then bring this one.
Um, David,
Yeah.
I have a quick question for the Las Vegas image with the sign.
Um,
Can't you just your
this.
own if you wanted to? Like if you want to create like a poster, you don't have to get an image from
No, of course not. But saving
Flash.
time.
Yeah,
And
okay.
yeah. But I yeah, I guess you could. But I was gonna say I'd do it in Illustrator, but I think no, Photoshop would work too. The reason I'm not
Oh,
doing that is just to save time.
Illustrator. Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Um, so I've got all my images. They're all smart objects. I can shrink them all down now. And also, when you're shrinking these, you do edit free transform. Up here, you'll see the width and the height percentage. Right now, it's at 100%. If I shrink it down, I don't know why right now. Um, it's constraining the proportions right now, but if I hold shift, it lets me squish it and stuff. Usually it's the other way around, but that means I'm just not gonna hold shift for this. But you can see I brought it down to 47%. If I ever want to make it go back to the original size, if I do free transform again, it's it's gonna be stuck at 100% now. So it's kind of like I lost the original size by shrinking it down. Um, so how do we? Let's see. Maybe under let's go to Window, Workspace, Essentials. Reset my essentials. Actually, yeah, properties might give us the original size, I think. Nope, it's not there either. So it's kind of a bummer once you resize it. It's you lose the original full size that it was. Um, but just keep in mind like about how big the image was, because the only thing you want to keep in mind is that you don't want to scale these bigger than they're supposed to be, because they're made out of a certain number of pixels. And then if you're making it bigger, all you're doing is basically enlarging these pixels and making it look pixelated. So never go above what you started at. So this Las Vegas sign, I'm gonna hide the other ones. And since it says welcome to Las Vegas, this probably would be like a centerpiece for this. So I'm gonna scale it down just as small as I need it to be. Maybe something like this. And I want to cut out Vegas and replace the trees with the images that I got over there. So um, let's use, I think quick select would work for this. Let me try. Not the greatest. I don't think I should use quick select. For some of the areas it works, but this is a really geometric shape. It's just a rounded triangle. So I might be better off trying to use different selection tools, manually doing it maybe. Let me see what the object selection does. Let's see, click on it. It selects, but it leaves out the light bulbs and stuff. So what I think I need to do here is do a rough selection at first, and then try to clean it up afterwards. So I'll do my rough selection with I guess the object selection tool. Just click on it, click here. That's really the only areas that it's recognizing. So I'll use that to start with, and I'll create a mask out of it. So you can see it hid everything else. And then I'm gonna have to disable that mask for a little bit. Actually, let's keep it enabled. And let's bring back parts of this sign using a white brush. Okay, so we'll go through, paint back some of this. I want to get all those light bulbs in here. And this part is going to be kind of difficult. Okay, do we need the pole? We don't need this pole, do we? Maybe we'll leave that pole out. Yeah, we'll leave it out. Um, Maybe leave out this blue box too. But I want to keep the star, so I'll keep the star and I'll just get rid of the other stuff. So paint this part black. I'm not just gonna use the paintbrush because it's gonna be really hard to do it with that. So now that most of it is selected, add this part back in. So let's clean up the rest with, let's try magic wand, select all the black on the outside. Make sure to lower their tolerance to, I think like 20 would work good here. Make sure contiguous is turned on. That way it selects locally, it doesn't select throughout the image. And just go over some areas. Like if I do here, I think the tolerance is still too high because it's selecting some of this blue, and I don't want that. So let me try lowering it to 10. How about 5? Somewhere between 5 and 10, like 7, 8. Okay, we'll go with 8 and select the other areas. You could probably find a much better picture of this sign, by the way. And this will be easier. It's just this one's kind of dark. Like, these light bulbs should be shining, but they're not. Okay, so for this part, I think this area I might have to do it with the pen tool or something because it's not gonna really work good here. Trying to select that. Let me try with the object selection. Maybe that will work. So if I shift click on that just to add that to my selection as well, and then um, let's just reverse the selection. So select inverse to select the opposite of. Actually, no, sorry, we don't want to do that. We don't want to select that star either because right now I'm selecting the background, not the foreground. So I'm selecting the black part to delete it. If I select that, I'll delete that too, and I'm not trying to do that. So I'll select that again afterwards. For now, while the black part is selected, gonna paint it black to erase most of that away. Okay, and then get those edges too. I could probably do a refine edge and not have to do this right now myself. It's just a really thin black line. If I do select and mask, I could probably easily get rid of that with a shift edge. Select and mask. Yeah, so if I shift the edge inward a little bit, that black line disappears. If you don't see it, it's more obvious if I shift the opposite direction, but basically getting rid of that. I think with refine edge we might be able to let's increase the radius. It might be able to detect the light bulbs because this is really used for like hair and trees. Doesn't work too great for dark looking light bulbs. Um, let's just accept with these changes. Cleaned up most of this, but not such a great job with the light bulbs. Okay, so now let's do the star. Select the star. Select inverse. So selecting the opposite of the star. And I'm just gonna erase the other stuff. Okay. And then just get rid of this too. We'll just keep that outline right there. We don't need this. This would be a good time to use the polygonal lasso because this like selects straight lines. Instead of trying to paint brush all that, you just use this. See, and then we gotta go back to where we started from. Where did we start from? Let me see if that's a good selection. Oh, it's erasing the opposite. So select, inverse, and then erase those. Okay, select, deselect. Um, so the light bulbs are just the only problem right now. It's because it was kind of a low quality image, so really hard to get those light bulbs on the edges. Um, um, maybe I should just leave them out and add them afterwards, like using a different method instead of having the light bulb. We could just put some, just paint in some lights ourselves, because keeping this kind of seems pointless. Especially here, like what is that? Was you can't even see the light bulb if I paint it back in, but it's kind of shining. That's the only reason we could tell it's there. So not a very great way to, not a good image to use for this, I think. So it might be better idea if I do crop them out completely. And it shouldn't be hard. I could probably I'll use the polygonal lasso and just go over, just do this one by one. Get rid of that. Um, we have a circle here, so I don't know why my drop down is showing up all the way on the other side on my second monitor. I'm right clicking, there it is. Okay, so let's bring that here. Select inverse, just to help us delete this part. For this little area, I'll switch back to this polygonal lasso. Get rid of that. This one too. Let's add a couple circles here. Select transform selection if the circle is too small. Select inverse and mask out. do this one. Select inverse, paint, oops, paint that one out. This little area, I gotta be careful because, yeah. So should we get this part too? No, we'll keep that. Okay, that's part of that frame, so I'll leave that there. Get rid of this part. I hope this is all worth it because it's time consuming. So let's just hope something nice comes out of this. Ugh, this tool is annoying. This is why I use the pen tool often over the lasso tool, because with the pen tool I could do normal Control Z's. Actually, we're gonna cut that out. So let's go all the way here, and I can also do this with the pen tool. So I'm gonna have to do this because the image is just low quality, so it's really hard for Photoshop to try to select everything for you. So I'm using the pen tool and just gonna convert that to a selection now. Make selection, and I'm just gonna erase all of that. We don't have to do it too perfect because we're gonna add a bunch of effects to it. Not really gonna show. So here, try to avoid using the pen tool because we haven't really practiced using it. So I'll just do that. Select inverse and delete that. Okay, these parts should be quicker, so just gonna get all of this at once. So we could add a circle right here. Let's try that again. Make it a little bit bigger. Let's do select transform selection. Okay, let's do one for the other side. Something like that. And then, so you can see I've got this circle here, this circle here. I'm gonna switch to the polygonal lasso, and I'm gonna hold the shift button to add to my selection. And I'm just gonna go from here to like here. Let's grab, actually, oops. That's fine. That'll be added to the selection, but I should have just gone straight all the way like this. And then from there, we could go here to here. I'm just grabbing the inside because I'm gonna invert the selection right now. So I'm just going along these edges. Okay, and a double click. Okay, so now this shape is selected. And now if I do select invert, I can quickly erase all this stuff.
So when you do inverse, how do you erase? Do you use the erase tool or?
No, I'm using the layer mask so that in case I erase too much, I can undo it. So I added a layer mask to the Vegas layer, and you can see the white part is what we can see, the black part is what's erased basically. But if I paint white, you can see it brings back the original picture. Better than using the eraser because of that. Because you could bring it back painting it white or erase it painting it black. But you have to have the layer mask selected. Don't click on the Vegas layer and just paint black on that, because if you do that, then you're gonna actually paint black paint over it. Although this is a smart object, I can't even paint it anyway, because when you have a smart object, a lot of the raster effects like painting and
Mm.
blurring and stuff is going to be disabled. So you can't really paint over that anyway. So, but the layer mask, I can't erase it either. So if I wanted to use the eraser, I can't, because it's a smart object, not a regular layer. But the layer mask, you can still do anything you want.
Can you possibly go to the beginning? Sorry.
Beginning of which part?
Like the picture and then how you took out some of the pieces.
Um, let me see. Hold on. I'll keep this one open though. I don't want to repeat the whole thing because it was time consuming. So I'll just bring in this image to a different layer, a different file, and then I'll show you this way. I'll delete the layer mask, so you can see this is what we started with.
Yeah.
And then, well, the beginning part, I was using the object selection tool, hoping I would save the
Uh,
light bulbs, but half of them are
mhm.
so dark that it's just impossible to keep them in the image. So that was all pointless. So I could have just started from the beginning, selecting just the shape here. So I'm selecting some areas like um
You're using the lasso tool?
I'm using the polygonal lasso, which lets you draw like straight
Instead
lines.
of the instead of the instead of the object selection tool?
Yeah, because the object selection tool doesn't work good on this image. So I'm
Oh,
using
I
the
see.
polygonal, and
So the
then
polygon.
yeah, and since there's like a lot of straight lines here, like on the sign, it's a good place to use
Does
it.
it have to be accurate
Um,
to
I
be
mean,
sharp?
well, close as possible, because we're gonna use that selection to erase part of the image. So now that like this diamond shape is selected, if I say select inverse and I grab my, well, add a layer mask first on top of the Vegas sign. Um,
Uh,
and I need to invert that layer mask real quick. Okay, let me actually deselect, create the layer mask, and then reselect so that it doesn't mask it for me already. So I have this white layer mask, and I'm just gonna paint
yeah.
black, and then the part that I paint black on the layer mask, you can see it gets erased. Okay, but I didn't select the welcome and the star yet, so I'm not going to that area. I'm just getting rid of this part first. And then for this area, you could always manually try to do it, but it's gonna be like, it's not gonna look good, as you can see. So that's why instead I maybe create a circle selection like that, and then if I erased now, it would erase the inside. So I'm doing select inverse so I could erase the outside instead. Okay, but I don't want to
Oh,
go
you
there
do.
because like I could do this part too. See, this selection is just matching that corner for me. And I do select invert, and then can easily erase that round area. Works much better than trying to manually do it. Like that. Select
What did
inverse.
you press for the first layer thumbnail?
For this, for
You
the
create a clip.
not a clipping mask, it's a regular layer mask, which
For the first thumb,
the first what?
the layer thumbnail.
Um
Yeah. How did you make it to have that icon?
oh, right click and then make it a smart object. Right
Uh,
right click, convert to smart object.
right click, convert to smart object.
Yeah, but
Okay.
don't click the thumbnail. Don't right click the thumbnail. The option doesn't come up. You have to actually right click the blank part on the right, and then you'll see
Mhm.
convert to smart object. Um,
Oh,
yeah,
I
so
see.
I'm just using the selection tools to help me like paint out the parts I don't need. So this area, bunch of circles here, so I'll use the elliptical marquee to try to get this circle about
Mhm.
the same size. Right. If it's too big, I could always do select transform selection, make that a little bit smaller. Okay, now we got this circle selected. So if I do select inverse, now the opposite of this circle is selected, and I can easily erase that part. And then just do the other ones too. If you hold shift, you could add more to the selection, but then it's going to be hard to transform it. Um, so, well, yeah, if I do this and I add it to the selection and I try to transform it, I can't really transform that last circle separate from the other ones. That's why I'm doing it one by one. Select inverse.
Mhm.
Oh, and I don't want to erase the star either, so I gotta kind of stay clear of that. I'm gonna erase the back of the star, but not that part. But yeah, I don't want to. I already finished all of that, so don't want to waste too much time on this. So let's just have a rough selection of this, and then let me bring back what looks like part of the star got erased.
Mhm.
So I'll paint it white on the layer mask. Bring that back. Just clean it up. Okay, and then how to add my stars going around this thing. Um, let's see, if this was Illustrator, we had a lot of different tools in there that we could use to help us with this. In Photoshop, I'm not sure what we could do. Oh, we could probably just create a. We could do this. We could create with the pen tool, or yeah, I guess we have to use the pen tool. Maybe start with the polygon tool, because polygon tool lets us draw polygons, and we could change the number of sides. We really need 4 points on it, pretty much a rectangle, but we can change the number of sides through here on the control panel. Right now it is set to 4, except it's the star is turned up, so there's a one of these options, I forgot which one it was. Thickness, unconstrained star ratio, yeah. Star ratio is 50% on it. That's why it's creating a star shape. But if I change the star ratio to, let's say, 0, um, why didn't it change? Delete. Well, I guess it has to be at least 1. Let me try 100. Okay, so it has to be 100, so it's not a star. But then that just pretty much gave me a rectangle. Let's transform. Now both of these shapes are on the same polygon layer. I just need one though. So I'm gonna use the direct select to delete that one. Path selection, delete that. I don't know why it said it'll be a regular shape. Because it's still not, it's still a path. So I don't know why that message popped up, but I could get rid of the fill on that and then change the stroke to dotted. Okay. And if we have a dotted stroke, we can transform this. It's rotated holding shift. Oh, it's too bad I can't. Okay, I can. I want to squish the shape into a diamond by bringing it down from here, but it's like also shrinking from the other side, so it's not letting me. So I think I have to do transform and maybe let's try distort. Yeah, so I have to do distort. That way I could squish it down. So just get it into the shape of this thing. It doesn't have to be perfect, so I'm just gonna try to get it close. Okay, so maybe this needs to go up a little. I don't know why this side is so hard to manipulate. Okay, let's just accept that and click check mark. I keep saying this, but I'm gonna ignore it because it doesn't make any sense. And I'm gonna change this colors on these. We could maybe start with like a bright. Well, let's go with purple. Um, and then what can we do about this area here? So shapes you can draw with the pen tool as well. I would have drawn it with the pen tool, but I'm trying to make it easier for everyone, so I'm avoiding using it. But this area here looks like we do need to use the pen tool to add a few points. So we just click on here with the pen tool, drops down a few points. And then what we could do is grab those points with the direct selection tool. Direct selection tool lets you grab points like this. And then we can bring these here. Sort of go around this now. I have to rotate these handles though. Actually, this point is probably extra, so get rid of it with the delete anchor point tool. and then switch back to the direct selection and just move these around. This is probably extra too. I didn't really need any of these. Okay, so this one, I definitely need at least, well, let's see, if I convert this, instead of this sharp corner, I could also avoid adding new points by just converting this to a rounded corner. But no, it's not gonna work. It's gonna round it too much. I do need to add at least 2 points here, so I'll add one here and one here. And then, oops, where's the point? There's the point, so bring that here, bring this here, bring that there. That looks okay. Let's also send it behind the sign, so just drop it below like this. Okay, I think that looks good. And then if you want to change the color of these circles, you're gonna have to rasterize that and change it manually, because whenever it's a path, it's all gonna be one color, whatever color you pick. So you'd have to you'd have to make that not a path anymore, which means you won't be able to manipulate these um, handles anymore and reshape it anymore. You have to manually move each circle by itself. I don't know why this one is like double, but if I bring it a little bit closer, that looks better. And then this one, I wish it would just end at 1 right here, but can't really control that either. It's this. This does not need handles, so I'll just click on it with the convert to point tool. Okay, now let's make that look bright and shiny. So I'm gonna double click that polygon layer and add outer glow. Let's make the outer glow opacity 100%. I'm not seeing it. It's on normal opacity all the way up. Maybe because the background is white. Not sure. Let's put it on a black background. It's going to be a dark background anyway, so I'm just going to paint it black and see if that outer glow shows up. Okay, now it kind of shows, but barely. Just need to increase the size maybe. No. Oh, make that a bright purple color. Increase that. Oh, this is inner glow. That's why. I want outer glow. Where's outer glow? Oh, there it is. Okay. I want a solid one. Okay, now, okay, all of a sudden it shows. There we go. Make it a little bit brighter. Or, sorry, we should make it a little bit darker and make the circles themselves brighter. Then it'll look like, let's see, if we go to the shape tool, instead of making this purple, we can make it like a really bright color, like almost white. Then it looks like neon. Um, let's also add a glow to the rest of this. So, oops. So double click or go to effects and outer glow for the rest of the sign. Maybe we could make that a different color, but I think I'll keep it the same. Keep it the same, but I'll lower the opacity a little bit. I want the star at least to have like a red or yellow glow because it's a different color. But I would have to separate that onto its own layer because the layer style applies to the whole layer. So why don't I do this? Just let's grab that with the object selection tool. I think it'll work good on it. So select that. It's selecting the masked out areas too, but that's okay. I'm just gonna press Ctrl J while that's selected and copy the mask from the other one to that one so it masks out the same areas. And I'll probably just apply that mask as well. You can right click and apply a mask if you want that deleted parts to be permanent. So now this has no mask on it anymore. It's just this. And it's a copy, so I made a copy of it so I could apply a different color outer glow to that. So for this one's outer glow, I'm going to change it to like a red color. Reddish, maybe a little bit yellow. And let's boost the opacity. Maybe lower the size. Actually, let's go something like that. Cool. Alright, so that's our main sign. Now, I think I'm done with that. So how many layers is that made? That's from layer 4 to layer 6. It's just 2 layers. This layer and this layer. Actually, 3 layers. That one, and that one. I'm gonna group those together. So shift select them and then create a group. And I'll call that sign. And now we could add like the rest of the stuff. So whatever else we want to add, we can position that in the background. What's this? Oh. So maybe I'll put this down here. I've got a bunch of images, so I have to decide which ones I want to use. Maybe I like this one better. Maybe I want the Eiffel Tower maybe to cover, be on top of that. Then I would have to cut it out though. So I would have to remove the black background. Actually, we just click on this, select inverse. Actually, no. Yeah, I'll add a,
Um,
yeah.
David, can
Uh-huh.
you also make images like glow? Like, can you edit the image to make it glow
Well,
and
besides
shadow? Like,
this,
provide a shadow for it?
well, which one would you add? You can't really add a shadow to any of these.
The Eiffel Tower?
Like behind it, it's already black though. Or do you want it?
No, like a white shadow, like a solid um drop shadow or whatever it's called. Mhm.
You mean like a stroke around the tower?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd have to first um
So
cut it out
beyond
though.
glow.
So like first here, I'll use the object selection tool to select the tower, and then select the inverse. And actually, yeah, I'll keep that selected. But I want to add a new layer mask to this now. So layer mask. I'm gonna do a reveal all, so it doesn't use my selection to do anything. If I don't do reveal all, it'll hide that
Mhm.
what's selected. So I don't want that to happen. That's why I did layer mask reveal all, and then I'll just paint the background black. Actually, let's hide the black background there so we actually see what's happening. I'm erasing the night sky from this picture basically. This was this is the original picture. I'm just removing the black sky. Now I didn't select the other buildings, so maybe I should um actually let's select the rest of the sky. Yeah, I don't know why this tool doesn't want to select some buildings. Like it's pretty clear contrast. I don't know why it's not selecting it. I'll do this. I'll drag a selection around it. There. Okay, so it kind of did select it, but not all of it.
I was thinking maybe put like the lights around the other images, other buildings and stuff.
Yeah, we could
That's what
try.
my thinking was.
Let me just grab the rest
Or
of this.
some other, yeah.
Anyways, the parts that are not being selected by the object selection tool, I'll just add manually. So maybe with the polygonal lasso, shift click here, double click that to add that to the selection. Let's grab all of this. We want all of this too. Actually, let's just do this with the rectangular marquee. Um, and add the Eiffel Tower. So shift add that. I think we're good. Now if I do select inverse and just go like this, we're just getting rid of the sky. So now we can easily put that over the sign. So if I put it over the sign like this, bring it on top of that sign layer. Um, we didn't get the rest of this area, but that's fine. I'll just try to keep it here. Or actually, let me just quickly get rid of some more of this. Let's get rid of that. All right. So you want to add anything you want to add to this? Now you can. Like if I go to my effects, I can add a stroke to that if that's what you wanted to do, like a white outline going around it. Let's do outside. So you could add that. Let me bring back the black background so we could see better. So you could add a stroke to it, but the stroke is not going to look like it's glowing though. You want to add a glow around it, you can. instead of stroke, do a outer glow. Where is it? Outer glow. So we could add the glow to the building too, if you wanted, like that. If you wanted a drop shadow, there's the drop shadow. Change the angle like that. Let's increase the distance. You can see now there's drop shadow over the sign, so kind of makes it look like adds a new effect to it. It doesn't look bad. I kind of like how that fits right in the A, so I might leave that there. Um, we had some other images we can throw in, like the slot machines. Where did that go? Okay, there it is. Maybe put this somewhere else, like in the back. I don't know, this image doesn't really fit too well here. Maybe put that as a collage or something. Along with some like other images side by side. Um, but it's kind of way past break time, so we're gonna have to. I want to keep working, but gonna have to take a break. We could probably almost call this done. I mean, it's good enough like this. Maybe add some more effects to it. Call it a postcard. Are there questions I missed? Oh, by the way, okay, let's go on break. I'm gonna pause the recording real quick. Okay. Um. So first, before we try animating anything, let me just throw some fireworks in the background because I don't think we could do anything with these other pictures I have. So let me get rid of the layers that we're not using. Should we use this one? We could throw it back there, leave it there. Um, but okay, for now I'm just not gonna use that one. And instead, let me find some. Actually, no, we're not gonna find a picture of fireworks. We're gonna make our own so that we could possibly animate that. Um, so fireworks. Let's hide the other stuff and make a new layer just on top of the black background and see what we could do to create some fireworks. I think maybe um maybe use a stroke for this or a shape, I mean, and do like a circle. I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to animate a shape layer, but let me just quickly check if it would work. Let's say we did this and I don't know, something simple like we want our fireworks to look like this, but then grow it. Or have it move outwards. So I don't know. Let's try adding a timeline real quick. See if that would even work. I'm gonna add a. You don't have to follow along here because I'm just checking if this is gonna work or not. So I'm gonna open up my timeline and create a video timeline. And the one I'm interested in animating is this ellipse right now. Let's get rid of the black fill on it. We don't need a fill. And then let's see if we could animate. Let's bring this up. We have position, opacity, style, vector mask position and vector mask enable. Those are the properties we can animate at the moment. Um, we also want to be able to animate the transform of it, so I'm gonna try converting it to a smart object, but then if I do that, then it's kind of pointless having it as um, a path. So if we're gonna have to make it a smart object anyway, I'm just gonna delete the circles and let's see. If we did like lines maybe. So for this, the tools in Illustrator would be useful because I want to have like some lines that are going around in a circle, but I don't think we could do that with Photoshop. Yeah, not at all. So, oops. Let me open up Illustrator. And then I'll send you the file too if I create this. And open up Illustrator because it's better for illustrating. And what I'm trying to do is have lines like this one. Actually, let's start with the straight line. Make it purple. And in Illustrator, we have the rotate tool. So I could like rotate this, let's say 20 degrees, and copy it and go all the way around like this. And then take this and see if we could bring it here. It's coming in as a smart object. I wonder if I could bring it in a different way. Paste it. Control C. Control C. Control V. Let's see. So if you do a paste instead of dragging it in, it'll ask if you want to bring it as layers, smart object, pixels, path, or shape layer. I'm gonna try layers, see if it'll bring it in with multiple layers. And looks like it did. Yep, we have line, line, line. So we have a bunch of lines now going in a circle. And then maybe I could animate each line like moving outwards. It's gonna be a lot of work though, because I might have to do it one by one. I can't really do them all at the same time. Or we could do something like this, be more simple, I guess. But that doesn't really look like fireworks. Okay, but what I had in mind was if I take this layer 22, which is a folder. Let's see, scroll down. All these different lines in there. Each line I would have to move and animate. So I could set a keyframe for each one, position, set that there for the timeline at 0, so the beginning of the animation. and then move forward like a second, and then move that like out, but it's gonna be really hard to do. Wait a minute, how come it's not saving the position? Position there, and then at 1 second, move it here. That's weird. Why won't it save the position? It won't animate it, so maybe convert them all to basic layers, rasterize them, and then try animating. There we go. But you can see it would be a lot of work if I tried to do this with all of them. So I'd have to go through one by one each of these. And also I want it to be faster. So maybe instead of 1 second, bring that to like 10 frames, or like a third of a second. And then press play. It'll like fly out like that. Maybe have it go further. It's gonna be hard to keep that line. I want it to go like straight in this same angle that it's at, but doing that one by one for each one is gonna be tough. And for some reason it didn't work while it was a shape layer. I had to right click and rasterize it, so it's a basic layer now, no longer a path or a shape. So you don't have to do that as well. And just go through one by one for each one of these. See which one's the next one. Then this one. So add a keyframe on the line on the position. Go 10 seconds or 10 frames forward, and then bring this out to here. I know what we could do to help us. I could basically take this, make another version of it where they're further away, and I'll use that as a guide. So, or I could just scale it like that. Let's let's scale it, make it a different color so we could see the other one underneath. And then bring that here. I'll bring this one as just pixels. Just it'll serve as a guide, so I could center this with the other one. And then that way it'll be easy to tell like where each of these is supposed to go. So if I move this timeline forward, I could have that line over here move like here, have the other one, set the position, move it, oops. Make sure this layer is locked because I don't want to move it. And I'm also going to send it all the way to the back. So send that to the back and lock it by clicking the lock button. So this yellow star shape is locked right now. So I won't accidentally click on it. And then might have to, let's see, let's close this folder. Let's go through one by one. So the first one is this one. The second one is this one. Set the position. Oops. Let's actually do them all together, like add the first frame keyframe. So start at the beginning, go through each of these lines inside layer 1. Or sorry, not layer 1. Layer 1 is this. Let me delete that. We don't need it. So layer 2 is the this image that we cropped out with the Eiffel Tower. Gonna hide that. We're not messing with that one right now. We're not messing with the sign. So we're messing with this folder here that has layer 1 in there, and layer 1 has all of these purple little lines. So line 1 position starts here, ends here. Line 2 starts there. Line 3, just going to open up all these lines and set their positions to be where they're at currently. So it's going to save the position in the center right now. That's all we're animating, the position. So actually I might want to animate the opacity as well. So maybe set a keyframe for the opacity while you're at it. And maybe the style too, because I might add a glow to these. I wish there was a quicker, more efficient way to do it, because I might have to do these all one by one. And there's a lot of them, so I'm just setting a keyframe for all three: position, opacity, and style. So it's saving whatever that style and position and opacity is currently. It's gonna get saved here. So on frame 1, they're at the center, fully opaque. I don't have a style applied, but might add it afterwards. And one more, I think. What's layer 23? Oh no, sorry, layer 23 we're not animating. That's the actual, the orange one. Um, so currently only the first one goes out. So I gotta grab the others and do the same that I did to the first one. So let's go in order. I wish they were, so they're all called line. It's not line 1 through whatever, it's just line. So it's kind of hard to tell which one we're looking at. I could go rename it, but I don't think it's necessary. So let's get the second line now. There's the second one. Move that there. Actually, why don't we turn on auto select so it's kind of easier. Let's grab that one, move it there. Make sure you're doing this on frame 10, so you can see they're moving out from the center. So just grab this one, this one. Oh, why are these two stuck together? Oh, okay, never mind. I was selecting both somehow, but there, we're good now. Okay, so if I play this, see they all spread out. We could hide layer 23, so we just see that one. Cool. So now we have fireworks. I could probably convert this whole thing into a smart object. So layer 23 that has all this stuff in it. I could right click on it, convert it to a smart object, and it still plays like that. So what I could do now is duplicate it. So I have two of them, and then just move one of them slightly forward so they start, like one starts and then the other one. and maybe even a third one. So play that. And I could probably animate the opacity of the entire thing all together now because I converted to a smart object. It's like a completely different layer now. So all the animation got saved inside the smart object, meaning I have to double click the actual layer to see the original animation. All of these are here right now, the keyframes from start to end. They're all in there if I double click the layer to open it. But when we go back to the regular file, there is no animation on it. So I could create a brand new one just for the opacity. So let's set the opacity to 0 and also the style. And I only have to do it to, well, let's delete the copies and then we'll apply it to the other two. So let's delete the extra one. And so I just have the copy right now. Let's call it fireworks. So we're not confused. So we got layer 2, which is, let's call that Vegas buildings. We have Vegas buildings, we have the sign, we have the fireworks. And the fireworks is a smart object. If you want to see the original animation that caused this to happen, you have to double click that and then you can open it up and see those 22 separate line layers. And each one has its own animation. Okay. But now we're going to do another animation on top of the smart object. So we could set the opacity and the style for all of them at the same time because they're all in one smart object layer right now. So we could set the opacity to maybe start at 0 and then 1 second in, or not 1 second, but like just like 2 frames in, bring that up to 100. So it'll start like that. And then have it fade out towards the end. Like how about at the end, the whole thing starts fading slowly. Like that, okay. So it fades out. Let's also throw on a style. So double click here. Let's add an outer glow. See what that looks like. Let's make it purple. I have to bring it forward a little so we could actually see that. There's the glow. Cool. And then that's pretty good. We could call that done. If we want to add more, we could just duplicate this. Control J. For the second copy, let's change the style to change the color of the fireworks. So I could add a color overlay. Let me actually move this forward so we could actually see it. So if we add a color overlay, we could actually change the color to a different color. What am I looking at? Let me hide the original one in case it's covering. Oh wait, it didn't copy the animation on this one. Or it did. I don't know why it's not showing. So fireworks layer 1, we could see that one. Fireworks layer 2, or the copy, I don't see anything. Let me delete it and add it again. Control J. That's weird. It's here. Did we? Oh, no, I don't know what it is. Oh, the opacity is low? That's what it is. Okay, there we go. Alright, the opacity was down, that's why I couldn't see it. So this one I want to change the color so it's not the same as the other one. So I'm gonna go to the layer styles and add color overlay. Let's change the color. Oops, wrong layer. This one. Color overlay, make it red. And also change the outer glow to red. Okay. So one will be red, one will be purple. And let's offset the animation so they start a little bit late. I mean, one starts after the other, so now we have both of them. And then you could add a third one too, Control J to duplicate that. And then step it forward a little bit. And then let's make this copy 2 have a color overlay of maybe, I don't know, more towards the blue color. Same with the outer glow, make it blue. And make sure the opacity is not all the way down. Now, where's my blue one? Can't see it. Oh, 0. There we go. Okay, let's turn them all on. Press play. We got some nice fireworks. And then we can enable the other layers now, the sign and the towers, and then we could animate that in the background. Why isn't this one fading out though? This one fades out. Nice. Oh, because we didn't add the animation to fade it out, that's why. So now for fireworks copy 2, we want that to also fade out. So when it gets to the edge, we'll add a, well, right in the beginning frame, let's add a opacity and set it to 0 again. And then 2 frames forward, let's bring that up to 100. And then towards the end, let's just have that fade back to 0. And then same thing with the other copy. That's this one. I'm gonna open up the keyframes, and let's set the opacity to 0 in the beginning. Couple frames forward, bring it to 100, and then at the end, around here somewhere, couple frames after the very end, bring the opacity down. Okay. And let's check it out. Let's see how it looks all together. Very nice. This one I'm gonna actually send you guys because I know it's confusing. Maybe if I send you the Photoshop file, you can examine what I did. But I will try to like run through it one more time. This was a tough one. Also, I want to move all of them a little bit higher. Luckily, I can. Just need to grab them all and then just move it up. Oops, where's the move tool? Let's turn off auto select because it's auto selecting things for me. I don't want that anymore, so I just want to move the 3 fireworks layers. Let's actually group them together. Call that fireworks. And let's move that whole thing a little bit higher. How about right behind the sign? And then we could have a little looping animation that just lasts 1 second. So if I were to save this as, well, I wouldn't want to save this as a GIF because the file size is too big right now. But I could always go to File, Export, Save for Web. And you see how it takes forever to load? That's because the size is so big. But it didn't take too long. I guess I could try that again. But generally, it's going to be really slow, like to show you the preview if you're trying to save as a GIF with the animation and you have like an HD image. So this is an 8 color GIF. Let's bump that up to, actually before I bump it up, let's lower the size of this down to like 40% of what it is. Okay, so we just shrunk it down. And then let's bump up the colors to 256, which is the maximum we could have on a GIF. And then let's play it. Also, how long do we want the animation to be? I don't know if that's just the 1 second or... Well, it's probably longer than 1 second. The whole animation is 5 seconds currently, so I gotta just crop this down to 1 second. So just pulling that purple timeline all the way to 1 second instead of 5 seconds. So it'll loop after 5 seconds or 1 second. I also need to drag these forward or back. We got more of these, so gotta drag them all back. So the whole thing only lasts 1 second. Oops. Stay there. Okay, we could just preview it from here. So that's what the final video or GIF would look like if we exported it. So like I said, I'm gonna give you guys this. So I'll save it on my computer, save here. Sure, we'll save it in the Vegas folder. Let me send this to you guys. I'm gonna try sending it through Discord, but I'll also upload it to Google Classroom. Yeah, Tracy, that just looks like a transparent background on the mask. Oh, are you in quick mask mode or what is that? Or are you in
No, I'm not on quick mask. I'm just in regular. It's so every project that I work on, it turns red like that when I click mask for all the work that I do.
so you made a selection of the reindeer and you clicked on mask and that's what happened?
Yeah, I press select in mask.
Might just be just the way it's previewing it for you. Like it's set to checkerboard instead of black or empty.
Yeah,
Let me
I
try.
wanted it to be black and white and not red.
Okay, I'm gonna actually let me do it on a separate file. See if I can recreate the
Like
same
your
thing.
mask currently, it's like black and grayish. How do you do that? Like your layer on your thumbnail, it's like black and white.
Let me bring in a photo here and try to recreate what's happening to you. Let's do this here. Create the layer mask.
Mm.
Actually, let's select something and then create the layer mask. So mine is just white, but yours is showing layer mask display options.
How did you do that? Layer mask display options?
Yeah, but I don't think that's helping though. It's not changing anything. What else could it be?
Mm.
Blending options? No.
Mask. Mask all objects. Oh.
I don't know. I didn't even know you could change it, but you're seeing something. Well, no, not even here. Can you show me
Amelia?
the whole
Amelia's?
panel?
Yeah, let me share this. Oh, wait, let me share the screen. Share screen. Mm.
In the meantime, let me share this with you guys. Let me upload it so you can mess around with it a little bit. Here it is. Oh, it's too big. Okay, I have to put it on Google Classroom. So I'll put it under class resources for both Photoshop 1 and 2. Come on, upload. Is it done? Post. Okay, also let's reuse that for this class. Reuse, okay. Let's put it under resources. Okay, so I just sent you guys um the fireworks animated Vegas postcard. And then Tracy, are you sharing your screen so I could see what's going on?
My screen doesn't work
Uh,
for like a share.
just send me a screenshot of just the whole screen or portion of it. But I want to see the two layers and the
The layer.
properties and stuff.
Okay, just one moment. Okay, I just sent it.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, it just shows a checkerboard, huh? Instead of. Do you have an effect up? No, you don't have any effect on it, right? Oh.
No, I don't think so.
Why is
Do
there
I
a?
have to restart?
It just seems because it looks like there's a white outline around the checkered star.
Yeah.
What's that white outline?
Oh, I tried doing it.
Mm,
The problem. My only problem is like the mask is like not normal color. It's like red.
yeah. So instead of showing you like a cutout, wait, it might just be normal though. I think that's just because you don't have any layers underneath. You're basically seeing this checkerboard. Your mask right now is looking like this, right? Something like this, except I don't know what the white outline is, but you're seeing a checkerboard, but your checkerboard is instead of black, it's red, and
Yeah.
that's probably normal. It's probably from preferences. If you go to, let's see where it would be. Interface.
Preferences? Where's preferences?
It's under edit. Or actually, if you're on a Mac, it's probably you have to click on the Photoshop icon, and it'll probably
Uh-huh.
be under there.
Preferences general?
Yeah, I mean, it'll bring up all the preferences, so you could switch through. Doesn't matter if you click general or interface or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But you can choose like your color themes from here, and then guides and grid
Really?
slices.
Oh, that's interesting. Mm.
So right now my grid color is this gray color, but I think yours is like on slightly red color. So if I did that, um, it didn't change. Maybe it has to restart to show the updated version.
Mm.
Grid colors, light, dark.
Oh,
Oh
now
yeah,
it
no, it's
shows.
it's right here. Grid colors under transparency and gamut. You can change it
Yeah.
through here. So
So
yours
you,
yours is just red because it's like changed through there. So it's normal. So if you turn on the white background, you would see the white.
oh, okay, got it. That's so funny. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're welcome. But it looks like we're running out of time though. So if you want to export this as a video, you can go to File, Export, Render Video, and then choose. You can leave it on the default H264 and then hit Render, and then it will. On my other screen, it's exporting and just finished, I think. And we should have it here somewhere. Where did I export it? Location. Oh, it's just on the desktop. Let's put it in here. Let's set it to repeat. So you could create this, and this is something you could send through. You could upload it to a website. Maybe you might want to, if you want to use it as like a background or something, you'd have to do it in what do you call it, landscape mode, so it covers the screen better. Or you could email this as like a friendly postcard to someone. You could come up with your own animations once you get the hang of it. But yesterday we didn't really get to cover the whole basics. So let me just run through it again. What I did to this one, try to explain it better. So I'll do it in a separate file. Let's go. Let's do this on a smaller one, like a 800 by 500. Okay, so the first problem was I couldn't draw these lines perfectly on Photoshop because there's no tool to like do it nicely here. So I had to use Illustrator. Maybe there is. Let me go through the shapes, custom shapes tool. So custom shapes, we have leaf trees, wild animals, boats, flowers. And if we go here, import shapes. Okay, you'd have to download more. So there's really no nice way of doing it here. Let's see if we had drawn one and we tried to rotate it around. It doesn't have the copy option, so that's the problem. You could rotate it, but you can't copy it or pick the angle to rotate around, but in Illustrator you can. So Illustrator, I could draw one line and grab the rotate tool, and then from anywhere below, I could do it from here, rotate a specific number of degrees, 20 degrees, and instead of saying OK, which will just rotate it, I say copy, and then there's a command to repeat the last action, which is object transform again, or Control D. And I just keep pressing that until it goes all the way around, and I can easily create shapes like this. So in Photoshop, it's hard to do that. So I created it here. I also created another version where it's extended so that it'll serve as a guide. Oops. Make this a different color so you can see. So it's just going to serve as a guide so that I know where to drag each of these. It'll be easier. So if that yellow one wasn't there, I'd be guessing where to put this. So I need these two shapes. So start with this one, bring it into Photoshop. Except I'm not going to drag it into Photoshop, because if I do, it'll just come in as a single object. So instead, you can Control C or copy and then just paste it into here. And I want to paste it as layers. Click OK. So if I paste it as layers, it gives me 22 layers. So I have a folder here called layer 22. If I open that, inside there's layer 1. I don't know why it does that, but here, let me just drag that out of layer 22 because it doesn't need to be there. I'll delete layer 22, just leave this layer 1. Call it fireworks. So I have a folder called fireworks, and it has all these lines in it. There's 22 layers called line. So each of these, let me deselect. Each of these is in its own separate layer. If I turn on auto select, I can easily grab each one separately. So basically, I could set a keyframe for all of these in my video timeline. So if I create a video timeline with window timeline, and make sure this drop down is set to video timeline, and I click create, it gives me here all my layers here. So fireworks folder, open that up. Here's line 1, the first one. We can set the position, and I'll just do the position because I'll do the opacity for them all together after I convert it to a smart object. So I'm just going to do the position. I'm going to set a keyframe at frame 0 to where it is currently, so right here, right at the center. Actually, let's move the whole thing, or let's scale down the whole thing. It's a little too big. So scale it down. Looks like they're keeping their thickness, and I kind of don't want that. They are still line layers, so if I select all of those, go to my any line tool like the pen tool or the shape tools, I'll get my options for messing with the thickness of that in my control panel. So while they're all selected, I'll just lower the thickness of this. Just bring it down. Okay, so we could set our keyframes right in the beginning. See, why is this moving? I don't know why this one moved. Bring it back. Let's zoom in. I'm just gonna Control Z because I don't know why that one moved. Okay, we're back to normal. I don't know why all these keyframes are set. I didn't set these. So turn them all off. Okay, once again, let me scale it down. So select fireworks, edit, free transform. Let's bring it down holding the Alt button. Go to our shape tool. Make the lines thinner. So I have to select them all again. Make the lines thinner. Okay, and then select our first layer, line 1, set the position, click OK on that message. It doesn't really do anything. Go to the next line, turn on position. So for each of these little lines, I'm setting the I'm copying the or I'm saving the location or the position of that line at frame 0 to be where it is currently. And then you could move forward in the timeline to like however far, like 1 second, maybe too slow. So I'll go to frame 10, and then you can see here. Let's look at. You can see here there's little diamonds here, and basically that's a keyframe that says that the position is saved for this shape. If I go forward to frame 10 and I do anything to this, like move it here, then all of a sudden it saves the position that I moved it to at frame 10 to be there. And you could always delete keyframes just by selecting them and pressing delete. So basically we're going to save all of their current positions at the center by turning on the position. I don't know why the opacity and everything else got checked as well. We don't need to save the opacity or the vector mask or any of this other stuff. Just the position right now. So go to the third one, turn on position, and animating the layer position may not have any effect. You may need to animate the mask. Oh, I see why this is happening. That's because I forgot to convert these to regular shapes. So remember I had to rasterize it before animating it. So for some reason, while it's a shape layer, changing the position doesn't actually work on animation. So we need to convert these to regular raster layers, meaning they're not going to be shapes anymore. It's not going to be something I could change the color through the control panel up here. So I have to select all of them. Right now they have that little indicator showing me that they're shape layers, but once I right click and say rasterize, that goes away and they become just regular old layers. Regular old layers, we can save the position on each one. Just going through each layer and turning on position to save the location where it's at currently on frame 0. Okay, so they all got saved at that point. Now nothing's happening yet, so now I have to choose where I want them to move to and when I want them to move there. So let's say at frame 10. So I'm moving this time slider to frame 10, and at frame 10, that's where I'll start moving these out to where they're gonna end up. So that's when I'll use this as a guideline. I'll copy this and I'll just paste it in as pixels just to show me where I should drag these. Anyways, it's close enough. So that will be my guide. So now I know that with auto select turned on, let's also make sure that that guide is on the bottom of everything. Bring it all the way down. Let's put it right there above the background. So lock that so we don't actually click on it. And then at frame 10, make sure you're at frame 10 and you already have all of these position keyframes dropped. So you should have all these little diamonds on each of the layers. So let me bring my magnifier. In case you can't see it. So position, you see there's a little keyframe here that at frame 0, it's saving the position of each of these lines right there at the center. So that just saves the position there, and then at frame 10, so now we're at frame 10, 8, 9, 10. Here, if I move these, it will automatically add one of these diamonds. It will add it right here at frame 10, and it will save the position to where the new location is. So see, I just moved that there. This was, which layer was that? That was this one. So you can see now there is one here saving the position at the center, and then this one is saying, okay, now this is going to be all the way out here at frame 10. Does that make sense? So you're just saving the position and picking when it's going to go there. And I'm using this green as a guide. So just keep this on frame 10 and then go through one by one, drag all of these out. And then you'll notice that now if I play this, move this back, you can see that they're going to move out to their new location. And you just have to do that to each one. Okay, so that's what I did first, right? This was the hardest part, to do all this, because it's kind of annoying. You have to do it one by one. If you did this in After Effects, it'd probably be quicker. You wouldn't have to do it one by one. So now that we did all of them, if we press play, they all move out to the edge. And it takes them 10 frames to do it. If I wanted to slow it down, I could always grab all these diamonds and push them out further to the right, maybe 20 frames forward. But I think this is a good speed. So let's cut down the animation also. So grab all of these and make sure, why is this there? Just gonna select all of these at the same time, just shift click, just drag them all to just be 1 second long. Oh, didn't let me do it all at once. Why not? Okay, I guess I have to do this one by one too. Actually, no, we don't. We just need to, we could leave that alone because we're gonna pre-compose it or convert it into a smart object. So a fireworks layer, which is animating. We just need to right click on it and convert to smart object. Okay, the animation still works. It's just it all got merged into now one layer, and now we could add a brand new animation on top of that. So that's like a separate animation. If you want to edit that original animation, you have to double click on it to go back to the original with all these separate layers. But we're done with that, so we don't need to go back to it ever, so no need to double click on it. Instead, take advantage of the fact that it's just one layer. And then if you want to animate all of them fading out together, you could just set a keyframe on the opacity on that one layer and then have it fade out at, like, let's say 1 second. Have the opacity go down, and you'll see that now we have opacity at 100 here on this little diamond, and over here we set it to 0, so it fades out. And it's also nice that we made it a smart object because we could just take this whole thing with the fading out animation. Actually, I'm going to start it at 0, 2 seconds in, bring it to 100, and then fade it out slowly. So it starts at 0, fades in, fades out. And now we could take that entire thing, duplicate it. So now we have a copy, and then we can move the copy slightly forward so that we can have two of them going at the same time. I don't know why it does this. It stays at 0 for some reason. Let's bring that up to 100. There we go. After I duplicate it, the opacity was at 0. That's why I couldn't see it. It'll happen again. Watch. If I Control J, make a third copy. Let's see if the third copy is also doing that. There's the first one. There's the second one. There's the third one. Okay, cool. We didn't have to reset that. And then you can apply just a color overlay on each one if you want to change the color. So, for example, the first one is red. Second one, let's select the second one. Double click here or go to Effects, add color overlay, change that one to blue. Click OK. Now that one is blue. Grab the third one, double click here. Let's change this one, color overlay. Let's change it to green or something. Click OK. Now we have a green one. Oh, it looks like I do still need to manually add. Actually, I could copy paste these. So the original fireworks layer, that's the only one that's fading in and then out. The other ones just stay there, as you can see, they never fade out. So I could always copy paste the keyframes for the opacity on fireworks. Just do a copy and then go to the second one and then Control V. Actually, no, that's not gonna work. I have to set a new opacity here and right click on that and then paste. And then it adds the fade out to that one. Go to the other one, click on opacity, right click on the opacity keyframe and paste. And now they all fade out. And then add a glow and change the black background to black, so it has a nicer effect. Hide that guide layer that I created. Add some glows to these. So maybe I'll just add glow to this one. Let's move it forward so we could see it. Add outer glow. Add one to the other one. Actually, just copy from one to the other by alt dragging the outer glow effect from one layer to another. They're all going to be red though because it's a copy. So you're going to have to double click and change the color. So this one will be blue. And then the other one will have to be green. And that's all there is to it. And then probably a good idea to now group all of those together, and if it doesn't let you drag this down to shorten the animation, you have to open this up and manually drag all of these to like 1 second. Because our whole animation takes place in like 10 or 15 or maybe 20 frames max, not all the way to 30. So at 30 we want it to repeat. Or in 1 second it repeats. Let me save this, and then this will be maybe a little bit easier to understand the other one than the other one, because there's not anything else going on, it's just the animation. And I might be able to send this through Discord because it's probably going to be a smaller file size. So here you go. Yep, that one I was able to send through Discord. I'll also upload it, but afterwards. It's already 9:54. I don't usually stay this long, so let me give you the sign out and stop recording.